I'm trying to get 100 platinum trophies. I have tons of games on my shelf waiting to be platinumed, and in this video we're platinuming. Released in April of 2021, Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion is a turnip-based action-adventure game with a retro-inspired pixel art style that was developed by Snoozy Kazoo and published by Graffiti Games. I really didn't do any research on this game before playing it other than finding out there's a total of 38 trophies we need, so let's just jump into it. We play as a humanoid turnip named Turnip Boy who lives in this greenhouse he inherited from his father, and we live the simple life until one day everything changed after receiving an unpaid property tax bill from the mayor, which is where our story begins. The mayor's trying to say we owe 140 grand in property taxes, which we're not going to pay, so we decide to rip it up instead, getting us our first trophy, Tax Evader, not even 30 seconds into the game. Nah, we ain't doing that. Oh. Already? Alright, I'll take it. This causes the mayor to freak out, saying we committed tax evasion, whatever that means, and he ends up repoing the deed to our house and making us his little errand boy until we can pay back our overdue taxes, plus like 50% interest. Our first task from the mayor is to go to the bustling barn to take care of the animals that inhabit it so he can set up a new town hall there, and for us to bring back a bag of fertilizer as proof that the deed is done. Before we can do that, we need to stock up on supplies, with the first item being a watering can that we borrow from our neighbor, Old Man Lemon. I just stole this man's watering can, alright. Right away, we use the watering can to grow a flower for this blueberry and bring it over to this strawberry that she has a crush on, and this is where we get our next trophy, Heartless. The strawberry is repulsed by us, but she does reciprocate feelings for the blueberry, so she hands us a love letter to give her, which we rip up right in the strawberry's face. If we can't be loved, no one can! We then explore around the surrounding area a bit more before reporting back to the blueberry for our next trophy, Hat Wearer, and while wandering around, my girlfriend stumbled into the room and immediately fell in love with the game.
Oh, she yells at me, this blueberry's cool. Oh, look, I got a hat!
What is this game?
The blueberry may never be able to experience true love or know how the strawberry feels about her due to her actions, but hey, free hat though. This is the first of many hats we'll need to collect for the trophy Fashionista, which we'll come back to later. Now that our head is protected from the sun, we make our way to Weapon Woods to get ourselves, you guessed it, a weapon. While hiking through the woods, we come across a deadbeat snail who won't pay us rent, followed by a carrot lady juggling a stool for some reason. We'll circle back to both of them soon, but first we need to get our next trophy, Most Wanted, for ripping up a wanted poster that we found of ourselves stuck to a tree. Really? I'm only worth $1? Alright, no thank you. If you couldn't tell by now, ripping up things is a big part of the gameplay and is how we get more than half of the trophies we need for this platinum. We'll get to all of those eventually, but first we need to head deeper into the woods to find a weapon and to get our next trophy, Adventurer. We find a thirsty plant patch tucked away back here, and after breaking out the watering can, it grows a dirt sword for us to wield. Another trophy. Alright. I see how this is going to be. Now that we can defend ourselves, we head back to town, and along the way we get our next trophy, Murderer, when we stop to have a little chat with that freeloader Jerry about paying his rent. What up, Jerry? Got his ass. Jerry drops his rent money, and after handing it to his roommate, he gives us a check for like $1.50 that we destroy. Hell yeah, I'm gonna get me an Arizona iced tea with this. Alright. What is that? 5 trophies? 6 trophies in the last like 10 minutes, not even. Actually, it only took us 5 minutes to get those 6 trophies, and that's one thing I didn't realize about this game before going for the platinum. It gives you a trophy for basically everything. Like I mentioned earlier, I like to go into games blind without checking reviews or gameplay or anything like that, so when I snagged my copy of Turnip Boy for the shelf, I really had no clue what I was getting into. I just knew it had a platinum we could get. And if you're wondering why I bought a game that I knew nothing about, well, it was only 20 bucks and it had a super funny title, which is honestly all it takes to convince my caveman brain to add it to the collection. Anyway, while I was blabbing on, we used our newly acquired sword to clear the grass blocking the path to Layer Lane, which is where we find the barn the mayor wants us to pay a visit to. Before heading to the barn though, we talk to his sandwich shop owner who complains about how his business has been really slow recently, but after finding a receipt in the dumpster behind his shop, we understand why his business is doing as bad as it is. $16 for a sandwich, plus $13 for pickles. This also gets us our next trophy, Dumpster Diver, for ripping up the receipt, which I don't understand the reasoning behind because it was already in the trash, but whatever. Afterwards, we make our way north to the barn, however that doesn't mean we're going to go inside yet. First, we talk to this construction worker chilling outside, which is where we get our next trophy, Contractor. The worker hands us his 1099 to prove his employment status, which was honestly the worst mistake he could have made because we immediately rip it up, likely putting him on the hook for his own tax evasion charges in the future. Not anymore, you're not. Then, like 10 seconds after that, we got our next trophy winner for finding a literal trophy behind the barn. The game's not even trying to hide how easy the trophies are at this point. I mean, we just got a trophy for getting a trophy. With that out of the way, we finally make our way into the bustling barn where we meet the mayor's assistant, Slay Queen 32, who has a very important message for us. You heard it, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe. She actually won't let us into the barn until we bring her a sandwich, so we head back to that overpriced sub shop to grab one. Hopefully she didn't ask for pickles, or else that'd be like a $27 sub.
Nah, man. I want no damn pickle.
We return back to Slayer Queen with the sub, and in addition to opening up the door to the barn, she also gives us an autographed photo of herself, which we promptly dispose of for the trophy simp. I am not a simp. I ripped up the picture. Now that we have access to the barn, we fight our way through until discovering Mayor Onion's office in the back where we get our next trophy, Bookworm. Sitting on the desk in here, we find a book that we have absolutely no use for, and by now I'm sure you can guess what we do next. We won't be needing this. Damn, we just ripped a freaking book in half. We must be shredded. From there, we make our way through the rest of the barn until we reach our first boss fight against King Pig.
Oink.
It wants us to use the bombs located around the arena to damage him, however we're not about that life and we just poke him a bunch of times with our sword until he explodes into a pile of bacon. That wasn't too bad. As a reward, we get our first heart fruit, which permanently raises the number of heart containers we have, and this is the first of many we'll need to get along the way for the trophy Tank, which we get for finding every additional heart fruit. We grab the fertilizer for the mayor, and after bringing it back to him, we surprisingly don't get a trophy for it, and instead are just given another errand to run, this time to retrieve a fork from the forsaken farmhouse. We head south to the farmhouse, but when we arrive, we find out the front stairs are broken, and we'll need some sort of chair or stool to get up there. However, I think I know just the veggie to talk to about that. The carrot tells us that she lost this baby she was supposed to be watching, which conveniently enough happens to be located in a trash can right next to the farmhouse.
Wow.
On our way to bring the baby carrot back to the sitter, we got our next trophy, Savvy Shopper, for tearing up a receipt for some seeds, and this receipt has got me asking some serious questions. So that was a receipt for a baby carrot. Was that like the equivalent of a sperm bank, or like, do they even give receipts for those? With these questions remaining unanswered, we bring the baby carrot back to the sitter, and after using it as leverage in the negotiation for her stool, we make the trade and use it to enter the farmhouse. Once inside, we find a bunch of zombified candy we need to fight through in order to reach the idle icebox, where we meet a whole cast of colorful characters inside. Only 3 of them are important to us right now, as they each have a mission for us to complete in order to get the fork the mayor is after, and to repay these folks for breaking and entering earlier.
FBI, open up!
First thing we do is find some medical supplies and bring them back to Nurse Barry. Then we head out to find this lost cherry, where we get our next trophy, Draft Dodger. We fight our way through some more rotten candy to this back room where we rescue the cherry from our zombie captors, and we also find a draft notice for this dude Matt. With the child rescued, we return her back to her big sister and then head out for the last mission to power on the generator for Deb. We make our way over to the final bedroom in the farmhouse where we get our next trophy, the Messenger, after finding a letter from the army stating our buddy Matt has gone MIA. He went missing like 2 months after getting drafted. Or 3 months. We're not able to mourn him for long though, because after entering the next room over, we're met with our second boss battle against the Rotten Cat Apple, which honestly took me a lot longer to defeat than I'd like to admit. Oh.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
Yo, okay, did I really just die to a bunch of worms? Oh my. However, on our 4th attempt, we're finally able to get the hang of it, and after landing the final blow, the cat explodes and transforms back to its original form. Ooh, little kitty. And just like the previous boss, we're awarded another heart fruit for our efforts. With the apple cat taken care of, we're able to turn the generator back on, and we report back to Deb with the good news. Can I have your hat? Oh, it's just a fork. Can I trade it for your hat? Unfortunately, we're not able to trade the fork for her awesome cowboy hat, so we just make our way back to the mayor with it instead. Before talking with the mayor, we stop to return that apple cat back to Crane Cran, who gives us some artwork, if that's what you want to call it, which is where we get our next trophy, Waifu. I hate this. That was like the one thing I was actually happy to rip up. After being mentally scarred by that, we give the mayor the fork and he sends us on our next errand, which is to find some goop located in the Forgotten Forest. I have no clue where to go because the Forgotten Forest isn't listed on any of the signs around here, so we just ask around to see if anyone knows where to go and end up getting our next trophy, Computer Whiz, in the process. While talking with the sub shop worker, he gives us a copy of the Fastbooks tax software as a thank you for giving that sandwich to Slay Queen 32 earlier, but it's not like we have any use for it, so we destroy it. Oh, sick. Won't be needing that. Eventually, we find our way to the Forgotten Forest, where we run into Annie the avocado, who's been providing us with moral support throughout the adventure.
Hi, how are you?
She offers to help us retrieve the goop and tells us to meet her at a research facility deeper in the forest. We arrive at a clearing with Annie's shack and end up getting our next trophy, Devil, for tearing down another wanted poster of ourselves, this time with double the reward. Okay, now it's a $2 reward. Once inside Annie's bungalow, she tells us how she's been studying the strange properties of the goop here and believes it plays a vital part in the creation of our species of sentient produce. However, she needs more data before she can come to any conclusions and requests our help to complete some field research around the area. First, she sends us north to find this mysterious mural that she's been hearing about and asks us to bring her back a copy of it for review. Next, she sends us south to this ancient farm where we find a regular old turnip, no face or nothing, which I guess is pretty morbid if you think about it. However, Turnip Boy doesn't seem to be fazed by it.
The many bad things to escape Cuba, things that haunt me in the dark of the night.
We bring the turnip back to Annie, and she tells us to go to this bunker in the west to find the answers we're looking for. On our way over to it, we pass by these 3 freshly mutated acorns, proving that something strange is definitely going on around here, and this is only further confirmed once we make our way into the bunker and see that our next boss fight is against a giant radioactive deer. A toxic moose. Or not moose, what is this? It was a quick fight that had us use this potted portal plant that we found earlier to drop down these portals that we kicked bombs through to deal damage to the deer. Ow. It only takes 4 bombs to beat him, and after landing the final blow, he explodes, dropping another heart fruit for us, and giving us access to the goop.
It's got a face?
With the goop in hand, or well, we don't actually have hands technically, but you know what I mean. We make our way back to Annie, and along the way we run into one of those acorns from earlier, who tells us they're ready to bite the bullet and invest in some real estate. However, I'm not sure what he's expecting to get when his only purchasing power is a leaf. We'll come back to him in a second, because first we have to report back to Annie with the goop. She examines the goop along with the other items we brought back to her, and comes to the conclusion that a giant mushroom god created this mysterious substance that somehow gave us life and created our species of sentient produce. She thanks us for all of our hard work by giving us our very own field research hat, and then sends us on our way. Hey, nice. I will wear that with pride. On the way back to give the mayor the goop, we stopped to give this plum Holly her phone back that she dropped off the cliff earlier, and got our next trophy petitioner when she asks us to sign this petition that we have no interest in supporting. I ain't signing shit. With Holly's dreams crushed worse than her phone screen, we head back to the mayor with the goop, and he tells us we have one final errand to run for him. His final request is for us to find a laser pointer located inside this hatch over in Weapon Woods. However, before we do that, we pay a visit to a real estate agent to purchase some property for that acorn for our next trophy, estate agent. The most realistic part of this game is the housing market, because that acorn could only afford the area it's currently standing in, which I guess is better than nothing, right? Wrong. It's literally nothing, because the acorn didn't even get a chance to see the deed before we ripped it up before his recently developed eyes. Well, I'll take care of that for you.
See ya!
Instead of Remax, do you think they call it Tree Max? Anyway, we make our way over to the hatch in Weapon Woods, and after talking with his extremely jacked radish, he tells us the hatch won't budge, even with his giant muscles, and we're gonna need something stronger, like a shovel, to get inside. Lucky for us, Tots the potato over in Grim Graveyard has a shovel. However, I know he's not just going to give it to us out of the kindness of his heart. No, in order for us to get the shovel from him, we need to help him with some work, and by work he means grave robbing. I mean, we're already on the hook for tax evasion, so why not add grave desecration to our list of charges? Once inside the graveyard, we dig up every grave we can see, but all we find are some pissed off ghosts and a dapper ass top hat. Hey! New hat. Love it. Oh my god, I love it. Come to find out, the real money is buried with the Richie Riches in the center of the graveyard, and in order to find the correct path to reach them, we need to solve these riddles given to us by a jack-o'-lantern who is in desperate need of a rhyming dictionary. While unearthing some of the graves, we found a note from a family member of the deceased attached to one of the headstones, and since we have no moral compass, we rip it up without a second thought for the trophy Gravedigger. Nice. Love that shot for the trophy. After solving the rest of the pumpkin's riddles, we arrive to the center of the graveyard where we dig up a grave containing a solid gold shovel. Tots takes the shovel for himself and tosses us his old one, which gets us the trophy Criminal, and allows us to finally access that hatch over in Weapon Woods. Immediately upon entering the bunker, we get our next trophy Doomsdayers after we find some instructions on what to do in case of a nuclear fallout. However, since we're the product of a nuclear fallout, they're really no use to us at all. No thank you. We head further into the bunker, through a bunch of these radioactive beans. I'm getting beaned! Where we see these weird shadowy figures running away from us. We try to chase after them, but they lock the door behind them, and while in the next room over trying to grab a key for the door, we got our next trophy, Newsboy. On the bed in here, we find a newspaper talking about bombs being dropped, which is likely what that giant mushroom drawing we found earlier was depicting. Damn. We use the key we just got to enter the next room, only for the shadow people to run and lock themselves behind another door. While searching for a way in, we unintentionally lit ourselves ablaze, which opened up the room where we get our next trophy, Liz. Inside the room, we find a diary entry from this girl Liz talking about her brother Matt, that soldier that went MIA 3 months after deployment. However, we're not here for this girl's life story, so we rip it up for the trophy. Damn. Also inside this room is the key that we need to access the next door, as well as a hazmat suit that allows us to intentionally light ourselves on fire, but not take damage, which is going to be a huge help in a little bit. We continue following those shady figures into a back room, which ends up being a trap that triggers the 4th boss fight against Liz, and let's just say she seems pretty pissed that we read through her diary. She is by far the hardest boss in the game, with a bunch of different attacks ranging from mutated hands bursting out of her chest and throwing up acid, to just straight up bonking us in the head with a pipe. The piles of acid she creates makes it so we can't get close enough to hit her with our shovel without hurting ourselves, so the way to beat her is by using that hazmat suit we found earlier to light ourselves on fire, and then get close enough to ignite her, damaging her and keeping her gross hands off us. She kept wrecking us on our first few attempts, but we finally saw an opening and rushed in to beat her with our shovel, regardless of the acid. I'm going in, I don't care, I'm going in, I'm gonna get her ass, come on! Get her ass, yeah! Afterwards, she explodes like all the other bosses, leaving behind another heart fruit for us to grab, and giving us access to the laser pointer. We bring the laser pointer back to the mayor, which should be the last errand we need to complete before getting the deed to our greenhouse back. However, after giving it to him, he double crosses us and locks himself inside our greenhouse with all the items we collected for him, saying they're a part of his master plan. We really don't want to find out what he means by that, so we rush over to Old Man Lemon where he tells us that himself, Mayor Onion, and our father, Turnip were all mobsters back in the day who used to run in the same crime family. That is, until Mayor Onion turned his back on the group, game-ended our father, and created the monarchy we see today. Come to find out, there's actually a massive base located below our greenhouse that contains all of the weapons and wealth their group collected over the years, and the mayor will stop at nothing to get to it, which is why he pulled that BS with the property taxes and kicked us out of our home. Lucky for us, Old Man Lemon has a secret hatch behind the tree that allows us to access the base. However, before heading into the thick of it, we make our rounds through town tying up any loose ends, like getting a fresh cut for example. Oh no. I'm bald. Thankfully, we don't have to rock the Steve Harvey look for long because after freeing the Pickled Gang from their incarceration, they give us a dope-ass fedora in return. Oh, much better, m'lady. Oh, I love it. With that taken care of, we head into the base, and while clearing our way through, we got our next trophy, Teacher, for destroying the book that taught everyone how to speak.
You stupid.
Then further inside the bunker, we find an office that has the best painting I've ever seen, which I'd love to get a copy of for my wall IRL. Sitting on a desk in here, we find a letter from our dad, and per his instructions, we destroy it after reading, which gets us the trophy Turnip. Alright Dad, I'll destroy it for you. Yeah. After that, we backtrack to this ladder leading deeper inside the base, where we got our next trophy Tyrant after finding a copy of the mayor's manifesto sitting in his bedroom. His manifesto? No thank you. No one needs to be seeing that. Even further down the ladder, we find a nuke just chilling down here, and after checking if it's still active, we got our next... After getting the true Oppenheimer experience, we make our way through the rest of the base to reach the mayor for our final showdown, where he uses all the items we collected to transform into this hideous monstrosity.
Try me, bitch.
It honestly wasn't as hard of a fight as I was expecting, and I was able to beat him first try, which got us the trophy Turnip Boy. We were able to get the upper hand on him by using the same tactic we used against Liz, just rushing in and hoping for the best. I'm going in, I'm just going in. Yeah, got him. Lux, come on. My cat's excited for me as well. Actually, he just wants out of the room. But wait, it's not over yet. As a last-ditch effort, the mayor activates the nuke we found deeper in the base, blasting us both to orbit and somehow transforming him into an even bigger monstrosity. In order to prevent universal taxation, we partner up with the mayor's henchmen to get our next trophy, Taxation with Representation. We aren't able to reach him by normal means, however the radishes offer their services one last time to each take a bomb and dunk it on the mayor's face to take him down once and for all. Hey, Taxation with Representation. After sending the mayor to the compost pile for good, we fall back to Earth and finally get the deed to our greenhouse back. Of course we're going to rip it up, which gets us the trophy Homeowner for destroying our deed, as well as the trophy Anarchist for destroying every document in the game. Hey, got our deed back. Homeowner. Hey, and anarchist. I thought that said Antichrist, but I mean, either one would work. We're still not done yet, because there's 5 more trophies we're missing for the platinum, 3 of which can only be obtained from riding the Limitless line that just opened up over at Sunset Station. Before we check that out, we head south to investigate some sort of dimensional disturbance happening in Rocky Ramp that turns out to be this magical cat that gives us clues on how to find the last few hats we're missing.
That's a weird looking f***ing cat.
This actually helps us immensely with the trophy Fashionista, so that's what we went for next. We're told to visit a gross potato about a bird, which has to be Tots over in Grim Graveyard. We tell him that his father, Pops Potato, is still alive, surviving in the freezer in their forsaken farmhouse, and he asks if we can deliver a letter to him. After playing mailman delivering letters back and forth between them, we get the last 2 hats we need, the bird hat from Tots and the farmer hat from Pops. Hey, nice. Fashionista, that was the last hat. With that out of the way, the next thing we need to do is try and find the remaining heart fruits we're missing for the trophy tank. While delivering the letters for the potatoes, we were able to secure one of the missing heart fruits by doing a back alley meetup with some sketchy dude, but we still need 3 more for the trophy. We find the first of the 3 tucked away behind this fence that we couldn't access before without portals, and the second one we find left behind by that cat as a reward for finding all the hats. However, we can't seem to find the third one anywhere. We search all over the area to no avail, which leads me to believe that it might be a reward for beating the Limitless line, so we head over there next to check it out. The Limitless line is an infinite roguelike dungeon challenge that takes place on a train, which consists of random enemies we've come across during our adventure, followed by a boss fight every few cars. After each boss encounter, we're given a selection of power-ups to choose from to help improve our run until we finally make it through to the Conductor, where we get our next trophy, Conductor. He teleports around, throwing shurikens and attempting to slice and dice us using his katana. He may have mastered the blade, but we've mastered the shovel. Yeah! Conductor! After beating the Conductor, the train resets back to the first car, except now there are elite enemies we have to worry about that have special abilities like more health or faster attack speed. It also introduces the chance to run into the secret boss who just goes by 3 question marks, who we need to defeat for the trophy by the same name. However, there's only a 5% chance he'll spawn in the place of a normal boss, so I doubt we'll run into him anytime soon. Oh, there he is. Well, he's gotta be super tough though, right? I mean, he is the secret boss. Whoa. Oh, got him. Oh, well that was disappointing. With the only RNG trophy out of the way, the last thing we need to do on the Limitless line is get the trophy Passenger for fainting on the train, which is exactly what we did next. Yeah, all we have to do is pass out and then find all the heart fruits. Oh! I hit the wrong button, but I'll take it. I needed the trophy, so... After getting off the train, we see that an item shop has opened up where we can spend the tickets we earned. Oh, I can buy her hat! Oh! I don't have enough! No! Oh, man. Okay. However, it doesn't sell the last heart fruit like I thought it would, so we venture back out to find it and finally get the trophy tank once and for all. After minutes of searching, we find the last heart fruit sitting in the idle icebox, left behind by the Pickled Gang as a token of gratitude for setting him free. Last heart fruit... tank, which also means... Hey, platinum baby, number 73. Let's go. With Turnip Boy completed and platinum number 73 secured, we're now one step closer to our goal of 100 platinums. If there are any games you want to see platinumed, drop them in the comments down below, and if I don't already have the platinum for it, I might cover it in a future video. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to like and subscribe as it'll definitely help me out, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.